After losing my job, I asked my mother if I could stay in the basement until I got back on my feet. She said yes, then charged me double what she charged her tenants. "You're not special," she told me, "you pay or you go." The day I left, I saw something in her mail that gave me leverage she never. I'm 36, male, and until last year, I had a decent life. Nothing amazing, but stable. I worked IT support at a mid-sized tech company in St. Louis. I showed up on time, fixed people's crap, helped with server issues, all that. It was boring but steady. I had a one-bedroom apartment downtown, a car, and a few friends. Not married, no kids. Then came the layoffs. I got called in with 8 others. My manager gave us some HR speak about restructuring and handed us folders. No warning. No severance. Just "we'll forward your resume to partners." I walked out that day with no job, no income, and $42 in my checking account. To make things worse, my lease was ending in 3 weeks. I'd already told my landlord I wasn't renewing, planning to find a cheaper place closer to work. Joke's on me. I didn't have a job anymore, so I called my mom. That's where all this started. My mom, Trina, lives in the suburbs west of St. Louis. She's owned the same ranch-style house for 20-plus years. After my dad dipped when I was 6, she raised me alone. She worked at a title company and always made a point of reminding me that she did it without help. We weren't close. She was more like a manager than a mom. No hugs, no "I love you," just "did you do your homework?" and "what's your plan?" That kind of thing. Still, when I was desperate, I thought maybe she'd help. Just for a few months. I called and told her everything. Lost my job. No money. Needed a place to crash until I got back on my feet. She said, "Of course, honey. You can stay in the basement for now." I thanked her, said I'd be over that weekend with my stuff. What she didn't say was that she had a price. The first few days were fine. I moved in, kept my head down, spent most of my time job hunting. She had 2 tenants upstairs, college kids renting rooms. I kept out of their way. Then, about a week in, she called me upstairs. She was at the table with her laptop and a legal pad. I sat down and she slid a printed document in front of me. It was a lease agreement. I blinked. "What is this?" She said, "I can't let you stay for free, Brian. That wouldn't be fair. The other tenants pay rent. You have your own entrance, a full bathroom, and more space than they do." I calculated market rate. I just stared at her. She kept going. "I charged them $700 each. For you, it's $1,400. I actually laughed. I thought she was messing with me. She wasn't. "I'm your son," I said. "You're seriously charging me double?" Her face went cold. "You're not special. You live here, you pay like everyone else. If you don't want to, you're free to leave." I had nothing. I couldn't afford a motel, let alone an apartment. I bit my tongue and signed. That was mistake number 1. I scraped together enough from selling old gear and doing odd jobs to pay that first month. After that, I started doing food delivery and temp work. I barely made enough to survive. She treated me like a tenant, but worse. She'd leave notes on the door. "Mow the lawn today. Clean up the oil in the driveway. Don't leave your clothes in the washer." She never said thank you. One time, I was eating a microwave burrito at 11 p.m. and she walked into the basement without knocking. You know electricity costs money, right? I just sat there in silence. Her favorite line when I pushed back was, "You're lucky I let you in at all. Most moms wouldn't." I didn't know if that was true, but it sure didn't feel like luck. Then one day, everything shifted. I was helping bring in groceries when I grabbed a stack of her mail from the porch. She was inside already. As I was sorting it, one envelope stood out thick, marked confidential. It was from the Missouri Department of Revenue. That alone made me pause. I shouldn't have, but I took it. Slid it into my coat. Walked back down to the basement like nothing happened. I opened it alone. Inside were 5 letters. All overdue notices. She owed thousands in property taxes and had been hiding rental income from the state. One of the letters said that if she didn't pay in 60 days, the house would be seized and auctioned off. That house? The one she made me pay double to stay in? Yeah. That house was hanging by a thread. That was the moment something flipped inside me. I didn't confront her right away. I started watching more carefully. Over the next couple weeks, I borrowed other letters. A notice from a collection agency. A bounce check warning from her bank. Even a bill from a roofer she'd ghosted 2 years ago. My mom, the one who always acted like she had it all together, was sinking fast. But she was still squeezing me dry. Then one night, I had beers with Marcus and Drew, the guys renting upstairs. I played it casual, asked how long they'd lived there. Marcus said 3 months. Drew was there almost a year. Has she ever fixed anything when you asked? I asked. They laughed. Marcus said, my bathroom sink's been leaking since I moved in. Drew added, she tried to charge me a late fee after she lost my rent check. Then Marcus said something that lit the fuse. She never registered this house as a rental. A buddy of mine does inspections. He said it's illegal to rent out without a permit here. That was all I needed. I made copies of everything. Letters, bank notices, overdue bills. I scanned them, saved them to a flash drive, and created a burner email. Then I reported her to the Missouri Department of Revenue, the IRS, St. Louis Housing Authority, city inspectors, the health department, for mold I found under the carpet. I attached everything. I did it anonymously. Then I found a job. Remote IT for a logistics company out in Kansas City. Low pay, but enough to move. I didn't wait. I packed my stuff while she was gone. I left the flash drive in an envelope on the kitchen table with a note. You said I wasn't special. You said I had to pay or go. Now it's your turn, Brian, and then I was gone. I thought I'd feel relief when I left. But it didn't feel like that. Not right away. I felt hollow, angry. Not just at her, at myself too. For needing her. For trusting her. For thinking I was going home when I was really walking into a trap. I rented a tiny one-bedroom apartment in an older complex near Florissant. Not great, but cheap. I set up my workstation in the living room and started working full-time from home. I kept quiet, kept to myself, and waited. It didn't take long. 3 weeks after I left, Marcus texted me, bro, inspectors are crawling all over this place. Your mom is losing her sh*t. I played dumb. Weird. Wonder what's going on. Some guy in a suit came by and posted something on the door. Housing code violation or something. Drew's freaking out. A few hours later, I got a voicemail from my mom. Her voice was tight, controlled, but I could hear the panic under it. Brian, I need to speak with you. Call me. Now. I didn't. The next day, another voicemail. I know what you did. I don't know how you got into my things, but you crossed a line. You've made a huge mistake. I suggest you fix it fast. Still didn't call. She tried a few more times after that, but eventually gave up. And then I got a message from Drew. Hey, just a heads up. She's blaming you. Said you're mentally unstable. That you forged documents and sent false reports. I stared at the message for a long time. I'd expected her to be angry. I didn't expect her to try to paint me as dangerous. A week later, I got a call from Aunt Marianne, my mom's sister. We hadn't talked in years. She started with, Brian, honey, your mother's been through a lot lately. Then it turned into, how could you do that to her? She took you in when you had nothing. I said, did she tell you she charged me double what she charged her tenants? Did she tell you she was one payment away from losing the house before I even moved in? Silence. Then she muttered, that's not the point. She's still your mother. I hung up. The truth was, my mom had a way of getting people to defend her. She wore this mask, responsible, put together, generous. But it was all fake. Underneath, she was cold, manipulative, always about control. She didn't love people. She used them. And now she was running out of people to use. 2 weeks later, I got an envelope in the mail. Certified letter. Inside was a formal accusation. She was trying to sue me for harassment, theft, and defamation. I laughed. Actually laughed. She had no proof. I covered my tracks. The reports I sent had no names, came from public email servers. And the theft? She'd never reported anything missing. But still, I had to lawyer up. Cost me money I didn't have. I pulled from savings, delayed my rent, ate ramen and cereal for weeks. But I got a response filed. My lawyer, friend of a friend, called it what it was, a scare tactic. A weak, desperate move to make me back off. It didn't work. And then came the twist I didn't see coming. One night, around 9:30 p.m., I heard a knock at my apartment door. I looked through the peephole. It was Drew. I opened the door, confused. How the hell did you find me? He looked shaken. Man, can we talk? I let him in. He sat on my couch, hands shaking. He looked awful. She kicked us both out, he said. Gave us 3 days to leave. Marcus is couch surfing. I've been living in my car. I blinked. Why? She said we betrayed her. That we sided with you. Said the house is under review for illegal operation and she can't afford to fix it. Said we caused it. I rubbed my face. Jesus. Then he said something I didn't expect. She offered me $500 to say you stole from her. I stared at him. You serious? He nodded. I told her to F*** off. I didn't know what to say. He looked at me. She's going to try to take you down, man. Any way she can. I poured him a glass of water. Told him he could crash on the couch for the night. I didn't sleep much. If she was willing to bribe tenants to lie, there was no telling what else she'd try. And I knew one thing, I couldn't just wait anymore. I didn't want to go to war with my mother. I really didn't. But she kept pushing. And now she was dragging other people into it. Lying. Kicking out tenants. Trying to ruin my name. She hadn't just crossed a line. She bulldozed it. I wasn't going to sit back anymore. The next morning, while Drew slept on my couch, I got on my laptop and started digging. I wasn't looking for dirt, I was looking for firewood. I went through county court records, credit reports, property records, anything public. And I found something. Actually, I found 3 things. She had refinanced the house 5 times in 10 years. Always pulling out equity, always getting deeper in debt. She was upside down by nearly $60K. She had been sued before by a contractor in 2019. Apparently she hired a guy to redo the roof, then refused to pay. Claimed shoddy workmanship. He took her to small claims court and won, but she never paid. It was still on record. She wasn't the full owner of the house. That part shocked me. Turns out my dad's name was still on the deed. The same dad who walked out when I was 6. I hadn't seen or heard from him in over 30 years. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I did something I didn't think I'd ever do. I found him. He was living in Jefferson City. Retired. Had a wife, stepkids, grandkids. I found a number through a work directory from the 90s. I dialed. My hands shook. He answered on the 3rd ring. Hello. I said, hi. You don't know me. Or maybe you do. My name is Brian. Trina's son. Silence. Then a quiet. Yeah, I remember. I explained the situation. The house. The taxes. The fraud. Everything. He didn't interrupt. He just listened. Then he said, you know I tried to contact you a few times over the years. She wouldn't let me. I said, I believe that now. He told me he gave up years ago. Said he figured I hated him. I said, I didn't even know you were still alive. We talked for almost 2 hours. And when I told him about the house, how it was under his name too, he said something I'll never forget. If she's using my name to pull loans and dodge taxes, then I'll help you end it. With his help, we filed a formal dispute of ownership with the county. Since he was still listed as a co-owner and never signed off on the last refinance, the mortgage company would be forced to freeze the account. It worked. The house was now flagged for legal investigation. That meant no more renting. No more selling. No more pulling equity. Everything was locked. And it broke her. She found out within a week. I got an email, just 1 sentence. You think you've won. You haven't. I didn't reply. She went quiet for a while after that. Until the next twist came, one I didn't expect. It was 6:15 p.m. on a Friday. I was heating up leftovers when someone knocked on the door. I looked through the peephole. It was her. Trina. Standing there in a beige coat, hair pulled back, holding a thick manila envelope. I didn't open the door. I cracked the window instead. What do you want? Her voice was calm. Too calm. I'm not here to fight. I just need to talk. Then talk through the window. She glanced around. I don't want neighbors hearing. I laughed. Like I care. Then she said, your father is lying to you. That got my attention. She held up the envelope. This proves it. I didn't take it. I didn't even move. Leave it by the door, I said. Then go. She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. Then she dropped the envelope and walked away. I waited 10 minutes before I opened it. Inside were emails. Old ones. Printouts of conversations between my dad and someone else. One of them mentioned me. Mentioned trying to get full custody. Another called my mom a toxic manipulator. It didn't prove anything except that he had tried to reach out. She'd lied about that for years. And she handed me the proof herself. I don't think she meant to. That envelope didn't do what she thought it would. She thought she'd stir doubt. Make me question my dad. Pull me back in. But it did the opposite. For the first time in my life, I had hard proof of who she really was. A liar. A manipulator. Someone who didn't care about anything but control. That envelope wasn't a threat. It was a confession. I called my dad the next day. Told him everything. About the visit. The envelope. The emails. He sighed. I tried, Brian. She wouldn't let me see you. Said you didn't want me. That I wasn't safe. I said I believe you now. Then I asked him a question I never thought I'd say out loud. Would you be willing to take her to court? He paused, then said, yes. I've waited 30 years for this. We filed a lawsuit together. It wasn't just about the house now, it was about fraud. About her using his name without consent to refinance the house multiple times, take out loans, avoid taxes, and evict people under false terms. We found a lawyer who specialized in property and financial fraud. He called it one of the worst abuse of title cases he'd seen in years. It didn't take long before the local media picked it up. And suddenly, the truth was out. My mom had built this perfect image over the years: kind church lady, responsible landlord, independent woman. That was her mask. The news crushed that image in a 2-minute segment. Suburban woman accused of defrauding ex-husband, tenants, and son. Neighbors stopped waving at her. Church members distanced themselves. The HOA sent her warnings. One of her old friends posted a rant on Facebook about how Trina abused the kindness of everyone around her. And the city stepped in. The housing inspectors issued over 12 violations on her house. Unsafe wiring, mold exposure, illegally modified plumbing, no permits, no license to rent. The state froze her rental income. She couldn't collect a dime. And because of the freeze my father and I pushed for, she couldn't even sell the house to escape. It sat there, rotting, just like her reputation. When we finally went to court, she showed up alone. No lawyer, just a manila folder and that same beige coat. She looked older, smaller. I won't lie, I felt something in that moment. Not sympathy, just pity. Not for what she was going through, but for who she'd chosen to become. The judge was brutal. He tore apart her paperwork, pointed out every signature she faked, every loan she pulled using a name that wasn't legally hers to use. He looked her in the eye and said, "You used your own child. You tried to silence him with rent. And then you broke the law to protect yourself. I don't see remorse. I see ego." The final ruling? She lost all ownership of the house. It was returned fully to my father, who immediately signed half to me. She was ordered to repay over $97,000 in damages and unpaid taxes. A lien was placed on her car, her retirement, and any future earnings. She collapsed into her seat when the judge read it out. The courtroom was dead silent. She tried appealing. Denied. She tried filing a harassment suit again. Thrown out. Last I heard, she was living in a motel near Ferguson. Word is she took a part-time cashier job to keep her car from getting towed. She hasn't spoken to me since court, and that's fine. But here's the part that might surprise you. I didn't keep the house. I sold it. Split the money with my dad. Used my half to finally pay off all my debt, set up savings, and get a clean start. I moved to Kansas City, got a new apartment, and kept working remotely. Drew? He's good. Got his own place now. We still talk. I helped him land a job at my company. Marcus? He moved to Denver. Sent me a postcard. And me? I finally let go of the guilt I'd carried for years. The guilt she put there. Some people say yes. But here's the truth. She had every chance to help me when I was at my lowest. She could have shown kindness. Chosen family over money. Instead, she chose power. She chose control. And I gave her exactly what she earned. Not revenge. Just consequences.